Ah, hi everyone. I hope I am audible. First of all, happy Diwali, everyone, and I hope you had a great evening, great night with everyone. And in this stream, we are going to actually get ahead and make our own profile. So I've created a new account, and I'm gonna uh, show you all how to set up a GitHub repository and make your own profile look really good. Let me just set up a few things so that you can see it clearly. Um, yeah. So the thing with GitHub is your profile. When you create a profile in GitHub, you can actually so there are things called as repositories. So when you create a repository, one little shortcut is repo.new. When you type in repo.new, it just opens a new repository inside your own GitHub. So let me just bump up the resolution. Let's say this is Milind dash Mishra. So this is a special repository that helps us to add the README files. This already exists, but ignore that fact that it already exists for me. I was just setting up that previously. Um, to our GitHub profile to make sure it's public and initialize it with README to get started. So whatever, so in my main account, if we go into my main account, right? So this is my main account. So you can see I've set up a really nice README in my account at github.com/ that beautiful dream. So I have a running text over here. I have a beautiful banner that's been created in Figma. I've all these custom written text. I've all these icons that you can connect me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Dev2, NPM profile. I don't know what is this resume. Okay, this is my resume, Instagram, and YouTube, of course. So this is my recent GitHub activities. All these recent GitHub activities are generally generated on their own. I don't manually type them to, get them. We'll discuss about this more in depth. We are going to read through articles and understand how all these GitHub actions work and then how you can set it up for yourself. These are GitHub stats, which tells us what kind of how many stars we have done, how many commits, what is the rating, what kind of languages we use, and this is like the contribution graph or like commit graph, you can say. These are the daily commits. I actually have been working on a private repository, so not been doing much on open source these days. But yeah, I also recently graduated from college. So here's a nice little banner about it. Here's my GitHub streak. Of course, there are more metrics. This all is generated. So this is actually an SVG. You can see. Okay, this does route to my profile. I did add an, I think so, a hyperlink there. But this is an SVG. You can actually copy this and use it anywhere. You can, subtract a few things. So there are a recent starred repository. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it clearly. So these are the recent star repositories. These are my recent activities that I made a star here. I made a .github repository. Yeah. So yes, this is also Diwali bonus for you guys. We'll also be going through default health files for your GitHub. Um, and I also, keep starting a lot of useful repositories. So this nice little thing is also really great because it brings in my whole YouTube feed. So you can see whatever I've been doing on YouTube. It just fetches that from YouTube API and then puts it over on my GitHub README. That's really great. I also have this generated. So I actually found out about this little later. So I'm just keeping this as well as this. I might remove this because it does not goes with my style, because everything is, a little boxy. I'll just try to remove that, or probably remove this. These text based, all these are, this is mapped to a legit. Please remove this. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So all these are generated. So I also have a coding chart for that matter. Not been coding really much on my personal machine, so there's no Waka Time API on my. So this is this Waka Time. Waka Time is actually a helper time. It just helps us to track, development time and stats. Whatever we do, you can add an VS Code extension on your VS Code, and what it does is it actually grabs all the data from which repository you're working in, how much time have you delved into debugging and writing code. You can see the screenshot here, and you can actually fetch the API key after signing up. So let's just log in. I'll log in with my new GitHub account. Okay, let me just bump down the resolution. Yeah, I'll authorize it. So what it does it is I can install. Okay, before it shows me the API key, I won't reveal that. I'm just going to close it. So you can do in your free time is you can just generate that API key, and then I can show you around how to use that. Great. So language usage, mostly JavaScript. Discord presence is currently not working, I guess. Okay, so here are my blog posts. Actually, it's a hash node. It grabs all my blogs from hash node and puts it down into my GitHub README. I also have a cute little banner here about it. And this is the fun part. So this is my recent coding activity. This is also GitHub Actions generated. And this is a cute little snake game on my contribution graph. It's being eaten by the snake. This is also, generated. It's an animated SVG actually, which is supported in README Markdown files. So let's actually get started. How to write READMEs. I'll just go through. Let's just yeah. Tab a window. Yeah. So when you are done creating a new repository, same as the name of your GitHub profile, what you'll get is you can check the mark where you generate the readme.md file. So now what you can do is you can edit here. So the features of this online ID, here you can do is we can actually add images over here. Let's see GitHub PNG. Let's just copy image. You can just paste it here, and it will automatically upload it, and we can use it in the preview. You can see we can use it. All right. So don't actually do this and delete it all. If you really want it, then use it. All right. I'm gonna delete this. Nice. Finish your repository. So this is how it looks for now. I'm gonna let's not commit changes for now. We are going to look how my GitHub repository from previously which I've created looks like. I'm gonna break it down for all of you. So here is my GitHub account, and the same repository with the name, it creates a special repository. So we can see here. So here are my workflows. So this is the blog post workflow. I think main what it does. This creates a snake game. So I actually forked it from. You can see it here. I think, yeah, I think this is it. If you go to github.com slash, I think, see it. So this gentleman has created a beautiful repository that generates a snake game from a GitHub user contribution graph and outputs it into the screen as an animated SVG. So you can look it over here. Let's see. I think it's loading. Okay, it might take a while. So this is animated. Looks pretty cool, right? Yeah. So that's about it. What you can do is we can actually copy this GitHub action, and inside our main repository, what we can do is create a .github folder, and inside that we can create workflows, and inside that we can create an action. Let's say main dot or snake.yml. So what this does is it automatically generates this SVG inside a different branch. So you can see here, I think output in the output. Okay. Uh, the main dot thing is not present in, which is why it creates conflict. So yeah. So this is the, see, you can see it 29 minutes ago. I did not do anything. There's a cron job running and the script is always running only behind. So it creates a GIF as well. So you can see this is a GIF. You can use this GIF if, for some reason, because GIFs are quite, unoptimized. Let's see the animated SVG. It's quite small. It's 104 KB and it's quite fast as well. So that's not an issue. So this was the first action. Let's see about the other actions. Yeah, so here is my repository. I'm going to go in my workflows folder and then go on metrics. So this is actually forked from low lighter metrics. So we can go ahead and read his beautiful readme that can illustrate how he has made the GitHub action. So this is an infographics generator with 30 plus plugins and 200 plus options to display stats about GitHub account and render them as SVG into Markdown, PDF, or JSON. We are actually rendering them as SVG and putting it inside my GitHub profile. So, so these are the kind of metrics that we can create. We can just create these kind, and then we can add a few, plugins, language activity, full year calendar with GitHub contribution, classic charts, world map, where the stargazers are from, repository difference history, starred topics with icons. So there has been quite a lot of changes after I used it from overall reactions. Oh, that's really nice. Contribution calendar. Oh, that's great. That's great. Looks great. So GitHub Skyline is also here. That's nice. That's nice. GitHub City. Amazing. Um, there have been a lot of improvements in this repository. So definitely we can go ahead and look how it looks like for now. Let's see. So we can also display lead code stats from here, which is quite interesting. Display the lead code stats. We can use the plugin lead code user link to your username and then plugin lead code sections to display the number of solved problems. So let's just try this one. Okay, new futures. Mm, yeah. And also, we can play I did see this. We can also you play chess inside our GitHub README. So it's completely bonkers at this point. So it's gonna um yeah. So I think assets download it. See, it in my downloads folder, but yeah, it's all good. Um, extract it all here. Just opening it with, I think, want work. Let's just think this is not the thing I was looking for. Let me just see it in my own. See metrics. And we have metrics. What we can do is you can use a classic template. This is the workflow for this kind of a template. So what it does, it actually has already all these set up as a markdown file. And what we need to generate this inside our repository is we just need to copy this code and paste into our main.yml file. And after that, inside our main file, we actually need to have something like, let me just show you. If I show you the README, that would actually look pretty great. Close this up. README, yeah. Let's see it raw. So this is the typing SVG. We'll come back to this. So how we write, how we put an image is we use an exclamation mark, these square brackets for the name of the image, alt text. And this is the source URL of the image. Here we paste the source URL of the image. These are the text, these are the bullet point syntax, All right. And here I have a div and I have a bunch of anchor tags which are centered. So like I showed you the icons which are centered, which has all of my links. All right. Yeah. Uh, the recent activity. So how these GitHub actions work is they find for these characters in your GitHub README and inside. So basically all these things are actually not there. This is empty. And these both things are there. This line and this line. So between these lines, whatever workflow commit is there, it runs and then pastes whatever output is there. So this is GitHub stats, which I used from myself using variable sources. All the sources are mentioned here, like GitHub README stats versal.app. And this is the API that generates the image for stats. And I have a couple of banners here, some more divs, a summary. So here is the actual GitHub metric SVG. So the thing is, in the source directory, there is a GitHub metrics SVG. So in the branch of output, there get always there an SVG gets generated. I hope I'm hello, check. Yeah, just worried if my audio was not visible. Yeah, so here are the YouTube cards comment, and between these, all the cards get generated. And this is the link comment. Here is a GitHub quote that also publishes a lot of, that is not fun for recruiters. They also publishes a lot of vulgar code, so I did comment it out. So here's my resume. I did add the resume, quick resume. You can click on it and go to my resume, and that's most about it. The blogs, you can read more. Okay, I need to change this. It's blog.millen.live. Okay, there's a blog banner, and here is the contribution grid snake SVG. So the perma link for my SVG is at a blob and the output branch and the file name. So this is how we can, use the permalink for the GitHub SVG. This is also a Waka time thing. It automatically gets generated. So that's really nice. And here are some of the aliases which we can use in Markdown. Kudos to Markdown. Yeah. So that's mostly about it. You can feel free to, go ahead, change this repository. Not gonna delve in and make it too much. I'm gonna commit it like this for now. And let's just move to what are default health files. Let's see what are default health files in GitHub. So, we all about default community health files. We can create a default community health file such as contributing. So, whenever you create an open source project, the thing is that we need to abide by some rules and regulation. In order for others to contribute, you must have a contributing template or markdown or rules how you can contribute to the project. And if there is a structured way, if you follow some philosophy, and that philosophy can be portrayed in some way, that way is creating a .github repository. Inside this GitHub repository, we can create some default community health files like contributing.md, code of conduct.md, and a few YML files for issues template and things like that. If someone wants to create an issue, what should be the issue be like? If it's a bug or a feature request. And if it's a feature request, what kind of things that you can do in that. The whole template is given. So the supported files are code of conduct.md, contributing, funding. If you have a GitHub sponsors account, you can add your funding stats and it can automatically display a sponsor button on every repository. That's really great, right? Of course, you need sponsors to live, right? I mean, you cannot code for open source, you know. If you're doing something great and someone wants to give you some money for the great contribution, you can gladly accept it by using the GitHub funding option or sponsors option. And we also have the security, the issues and pull requests. Config IML is like I showed you. It has templates that you can customize and standardize the information that you'd like for the contributors to include when they open an issue or pull request in the repository. So for more, you can read it out here. I'll add the links in the description on YouTube, not on LinkedIn or on Twitter, on YouTube. I'll definitely add the LinkedIn post and Twitter post after this. So what we can do is we can just create a .github, like said above. You can initialize it with README, and then we can create a .github issue template. So I'll show you mine, how mine is. github.com/. Beautiful dream. I just created a default community. So what I have is I have the code of conduct in place. I got this from here. Contribute commandant.org. You can, copy and paste it in here. You can go through this, of course. And there's a README, of course, that this is being displayed. So inside the .github folder, inside .github folder, just to keep it clean, we have an issue template folder where I have the bug report YML, which is something like this. We can have a bug report file or a bug report here. We can, assign it to me. That is the maintainer of the project, description of the bug, steps to reproduce. How can I reproduce the bugs and additional information? And let's check feature request. So the feature request is likewise. You can gladly copy this. I hope I was a little fast, but yeah, all these things are really, fun little things you can do with your GitHub account. And of course, default health files is really necessary. And if you want to, spice up your GitHub profile, you can always have a reference from mine. It's github.com/that beautiful dream. I can add it here. I can add a banner real quick. GitHub.com/that. Okay, just copy it from here. Yeah, I'll just show it to HTTPS. Yep, that's my profile. So you can go ahead and look into the .github repository and that beautiful dream. GitHub.com/that beautiful dream/that beautiful dream for rest of the GitHub actions and more. Thank you. Signing off.